Welcome back to the Means Report, everybody. Brad Means with you as we try to understand Las Vegas. And as we try to put perspective on it, we can only imagine what the people who were impacted directly by it are going through, the grief that they're feeling come at them like a tsunami right now. So how do they and we get through this? Dr. Roger Murchison is an expert on grief. He is a longtime Augusta minister, the associate pastor at First Baptist Church of Augusta for many, many years until his retirement, and noted author. His book is called Guide for Grief, and we've had Dr. Murchison on before to talk about this book, and I appreciate you coming back to not only talk about the book some more, but how it might be able to help us understand this process. Thanks.
You're welcome, Brad. Glad to be here.
So, grief is a natural thing. It happens when someone dies, but start us off by helping us understand how this type of sudden grief is different from my grandmother passed.
Yeah, tragic and sudden grief is different, Brad. And like most of us, of course, remember September 11, 2001, our most tragic event in America. But this likened to it is when sudden grief happens, most grief experts say there's no anticipation. Anticipatory grief is when we know that grandmother is going to pass away as a terminal illness. And so you get prepared, you get your psychology, your thoughts, your process, get your home ready. Yeah. But in a situation like this, you're at a music concert in Las Vegas, and no one is prepared for that. And so the first thought is denial. The first thought, this can't be happening. And so most people who are in that process, as a matter of fact, when you saw the news reports that you give, most people thought this was a part of the show.
They did. They thought there were fireworks or something.
Exactly.
Well, is there some sort of, after that acceptance kicks in, any sort of guilt? My thought is for the families of the deceased for sure, but what about those who walked away from that concert unscathed or injured only? Yeah. What do they carry with them as far as grief goes?
Yeah, survivors usually have a lot of issues with which to deal. And most of the time, it starts off with the issue of guilt or blame, and also anger is a major part of grief. And the thought of it is, if you don't deal with grief, grief will deal with you. And sometimes it is not very pleasant. And so people who've gone through situations like this have to recognize, I am grieving, and I must work at this and think about, how do I deal with grief? And the first issue is, know that this did happen. Don't quit denying that this didn't happen, that my loved one is gone, I now need to process this. And that's a difficult thing to do at times.
Does time heal all wounds?
Not necessarily. Some people who think, if I can just walk away from that, I can rake it under the carpet, give grief some time, and maybe it'll go away. I counseled with one friend of mine who mother had died 30 years before, and she was still angry. And it presented itself in some very ugly ways.
Those who are grieving often lament the fact that there was unfinished business, that if only we had got engaged sooner, if only we had taken that trip we had planned. How do you get past that part and realize that business will remain unfinished?
Yeah. One of my grief expert mentors was Dr. John Claypool, and he says, in death, we always run out of time. If I had one more moment, one more week, one more month, one more year, I would have. And so what we must do is be grateful for the time we had. What Dr. John Claypool said when his daughter died of leukemia at 11 years of age, he decided, I could be angry, I could say, why me, why her? It took him a while, but he finally said, the road out of grief is gratitude, that I ever knew her at all.
So are you a big proponent of tell people you love them, hold your family close, hug your children, because you never know?
For sure, yeah. But whatever you think is important in life to you, be about it today. Who's guaranteed tomorrow? Not a one of us, Brad. And so the issue is, those things we think are important in life, we should be about involving ourselves in the life of our children, involving the community, involved with the church. Whatever you value, that's the thing you should be moving toward. Because grief is like drinking water and breathing air. We grieve every day about something. Loss of health, loss of job, your children go off to college, empty nest, which is not so bad, empty nest.
There are bright spots.
Yeah, there are bright spots. But we grieve all the time. So the issue isn't, can I make it go away? The issue is, how do you deal with it? How do you respond to it?
Speaking of children, what do we say to them, and at what age can you say, yes, a man killed 58 people in Las Vegas? We don't want to scar them.
Well, in the book I've written, there's a chapter called Mourning Children and Children Mourning. How do parents bury their children. It's out of the cycle of life. Remember the old movie Lion King? When the little lion had to say goodbye to the big lion, the father. That is the normal cycle of life. And then the song goes on. But when a parent buries a child, that's unnatural. That's out of the cycle of life. And so parents have a more challenging problem with grief. It really exacerbates the grief process. And I always encourage parents to one, there are rituals they need to go through. They need to remember. Maybe put a book together. The issue isn't always why this happened, because we all can't answer the why questions. We should say, what do I do now? I can't bring my loved one back. What do I do now? And what we do is appropriately grieve and appropriately say goodbye. And I think when we do that, our grief then can become productive. It's not that you shouldn't grieve. The issue is grieve appropriately.
Are there unhealthy ways to grieve?
Well, many people do get stuck in what I call grief, in a cycle of grief. There are many phases and stages, and they're not linear. Many people say, denial and depression and anger and bargaining, then acceptance. But these are not 1, 2, 3 steps. They're cyclical. You tend to move through cycles of grief, and you may be angry at the beginning, like right now. People could be angry at Stephen Paddock because of what he did. Angry at the Mandalay Bay Hotel because they didn't have enough security and should have found all those weapons. Angry at the doctors because they didn't heal my son who had the gunshot wound. Angry at the security guards at the concert, weren't enough security guards. And so we always want to wag our finger and cause blame, and there may be some blame, but the issue is that doesn't bring them back. And so it's not the why, it's what do I do now with these feelings? And the unhealthy way to grieve is to not recognize these feelings and either work on yourself or get help. If you had a broken arm, go to an orthopedic surgeon and get it fixed. If your heart is broken with grief, you may need to go to a professional and get some help.
Yeah, one thing that's frustrating to me is I think we can get through this if we can understand it, but I just had a forensic psychologist sit here and say sometimes you don't understand why people do these evil things, and if you can't understand why it happened, how can you ever get past it?
Well, that's why I push people past the why question, Brad. If you keep asking, why, it's usually a one-way road to nowhere. Now, you've got to ask those questions. People have got to ask, why did this happen? Why was I there? Why did my son or daughter be in the line of fire? But usually there's no satisfaction with why questions.
You have to move past that.
You have to move past that to the what question. What do I do now?
My final question in just about 30 seconds. Can any benefit come from Las Vegas?
You've already seen it. One person said, I looked at Sin City and what I saw was saints. And that, I think, Brad, is what's happening here, is you saw these heroes coming out and the testimony of these people. And I think what it says, when I saw signs in Las Vegas, it says, pray for Vegas, Vegas strong, then you're seeing a transfer. You're seeing a change, and that brings hope.
Dr. Roger Murkison, the book is Guide for Grief. Your expertise is deeply appreciated. I've learned a lot today, and I hope our viewers have as well. Thank you.
You're welcome, Brad.
Dr. Roger Murkison. When we come back, we'll wrap up the Means Report and let you know how you can shape future editions of this broadcast and how you can stay in touch with us here at News Channel 6 in a moment.